Deep in one of the harshest deserts on Earth, a satellite scan just uncovered something that shouldn't be there. Not oil, not water, graves, hundreds of them, some wider than a football field buried under sand in a place nobody thought mattered. And what scientists found underneath is rewriting the story of civilization itself. We're in the Atbai Desert, eastern Sudan. Bone-dry, brutal heat, a stretch of land history simply walked past. For decades, archaeologists assumed nothing significant ever lived here. No cities, no monuments, no empire. Every textbook told the same story. Civilization began at the river, and the desert around it was just empty space, a void between Egypt and the rest of Africa. They were wrong. Using satellite remote sensing, an international team led by Macquarie University in Sydney scanned the region and found something extraordinary. 260 massive enclosed burial mounds, some stretching up to 80 meters across. That's not a small tribal cemetery. That's architecture. That's organization. That's a civilization with the manpower and the belief system to build monuments on a massive scale, in a landscape that offers almost nothing to work with. Here's the part that changes everything. These structures are roughly 6,000 years old, older than the first pharaoh, older than the pyramids, built before Egypt as we know it even existed. For over a century, the story of civilization along the Nile started one way. Farmers settled the river, kings emerged, Egypt rose, and everything else around it was empty desert. But these graves prove something different. Before the pharaohs, before the temples, before the hieroglyphs, there was already a sophisticated nomadic people moving through this desert, not wandering aimlessly, organizing, building, burying their dead with intention and scale, generation after generation, in the same sacred ground. Dr. Julian Cooper, the lead researcher, put it simply. This discovery reshapes the story of the Sahara and the prehistory of the Nile. Think about what that actually means. These weren't primitive herders scraping by in the sand. They were master adapters. They transformed their entire society around pastoralism, moving with the seasons, following water and grazing land across one of the most punishing environments on the planet. And out of that harsh, unforgiving life, they built monuments meant to last thousands of years, without a single permanent city to call home. That's the twist nobody saw coming. We always pictured the Sahara as a wall, a dead, empty barrier separating Egypt from the rest of Africa. These mounds prove it was the opposite. It was a corridor, a living space, a prologue to everything the great Nile civilizations would later become. The monumental thinking we associate with Egypt, massive structures built to honor the dead, built to defy time itself, may have started here first in the sand, generations before the first stone of a pyramid was ever cut. And this discovery didn't happen through decades of digging. It happened because of technology. Satellite remote sensing is now allowing archaeologists to see structures completely invisible from the ground, patterns only detectable from space, shapes carved into the landscape that human eyes walked past for thousands of years without ever noticing, which raises an unsettling question. How many more lost civilizations are sitting under our feet right now, waiting for someone to finally look up instead of down? But here's the urgent part. These sites are not safe. Researchers are warning that the ancient graves in Atbai are facing immediate, catastrophic destruction. Erosion, development, looting. The same forces that erased countless ancient sites before we ever understood what they were. We may be looking at the only window humanity will ever have to study this lost empire before it's gone forever, swallowed back into the sand that hid it for 6,000 years. So somewhere in the desert of Sudan 6,000 years ago, a nomadic people we don't even have a name for built something meant to outlast them. They had no cities we've found, no written language we've deciphered. And yet, through sheer will and community, they carved permanence into one of the most hostile landscapes on Earth. They didn't do it for us. They did it so they wouldn't be forgotten. For 6,000 years it worked. Until now. The question is, what else is still buried out there? And how much time do we actually have left to find it? If this kind of hidden history fascinates you, subscribe to Lost Chronicles. Every week we uncover the civilizations, mysteries, and lost worlds that history left behind.